All right, so I'm gonna do some quick sectioning real quick. We're gonna go straight back, comb it straight back, and then I'm gonna work a center parting to start off my sectioning. So right from the bridge of the nose, we're gonna come back to the crown, comb that over. So we split it straight down the center, so we're separating left and right. Now we're gonna separate front and back. So we'll just turn her like this, from the top down. Separate front and back. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Those of you guys that have followed my classes for a while, you'll know that I like to get right to this high crown area, or almost the apex of the head, and drop it down and follow that hairline all the way back. So not straight at the ear. I like to go just behind it and follow the hairline down so that we're working with the same density in the back and then the same density in the front. For this cut today, I'm gonna be using our new razor. This is the Evo Razor Pro. So it's easy when you're cutting with it to palm it and use it just like a scissor as you work through it. So what I'm gonna do is, in keeping the back separated, I'm gonna slide my clip up underneath. Just keep that there. Do the same thing on the other side. I really just wanna get that out of the way. And then I'm gonna take a section straight down center back. So once again, separating left and right. And then we're gonna get started in this nape area back here. So what I'll do to start in the nape, straight across here, just take a nice little horizontal line out. And I'm gonna comb the rest up. I kind of comb it up and out of the way. That way, when I slide my clip in, it holds it just out of the way better. And it just kind of keeps it up and a little bit tighter. I'll do the same thing over here. How are we feeling so far in the chat? All right, so I'm just gonna take about the razor's width, and I'll do a slight elevation, but what I wanna do is I wanna create a softness on the edge there. So I'm not trying to go super blunt look, like I want the razor look to this haircut, not trying to just cut through. What I like about a razor too is I can create that little line just with the flick of my wrist and really decide what I want that line to look like. As opposed to a scissor, you gotta kind of create the angle with your fingers or do slide cutting or whatever. On this side, we're gonna come kind of on top. So that's the great thing, MJ, about this sectioning is that it's good for all hair types, because really what it's doing is it's making you aware the density and the area that you're working in the head. So that's why I like to section basically like that all the time. There might be variations of that sectioning where I might take it into more sections, but for the most part, that's the straight up sectioning that I do. When I'm cutting with a razor, a wider tooth like this 705 comb, I prefer, because I like the loose tension. Sometimes I'll go in with a tighter tension, like when I'm just cutting with the razor and I just want to grab and get nice sectioning to it. Curly hair, cutting with the razor, creating texture. I don't like to have a ton of tension on the hair. So I just use that comb just to control slightly, but I'm not pulling anything really tight. Because we're using the razor, it's a nice soft line. When you cut with a scissor, it's great too. It's just a different look because you'll get a definite more stacked and harsh feeling to that line, which is the purpose. But with a razor, you just get a little bit more texture, a little more forgiveness, a little more softness to it when you're working through. And I'll just continue working this right side. Once you get your body position set, it's best to kind of, for me, to stick with that particular position so that I stay more consistent. If I'm bouncing from side to side, you can lose that consistency. Not all the way up here, because elevation still matters in razor cutting. I can see my guide through, even though it's a little bit softer because it's a razor, you see it start to fall. And as soon as I see it fall, I can come all the way out here and still cut my line because I can see the line through there. That's another difference in a scissor. So that allows me to get more back and forth movement with the razor. And the more back and forth movement, the softer the line's gonna fall. So now, just a heavier pass back and forth, still cutting that line. The other great thing about this is I don't think one tool should do every haircut. So we can always go through with the scissor and create a more defined line if we wanted to in the end result. It's really up to you. When you think about, some of you guys might be in hair school they always talk about that hole that happens right behind the ear. Well, that hole happens because you're going through and you're cutting and you're not being aware that you're pulling hair from the front of the head as opposed to the back. So it's following the hairline. So you get less density and the hairline starts to creep into your haircut. If you separate it like this and you've got your front and back separated, you don't really get a hole because you're not working into the front. So it kind of takes away that fear that you're gonna have that dreaded hole in the haircut. Slightly elevated, watch the bottom fall out, and then a nice, probably 1 inch back and forth, almost 2 inch pass with the razor, create a really nice soft edge. The more precise you want this to be, the tighter and quicker you're gonna make your movements with the razor. When I'm holding this in my hand, like we designed it to really literally fit in your hand like that. Put my pointer finger on the top, and that's kind of how I make that movement back and forth. Like I just kind of tap through it. So Tara, one thing, closed and open is kind of how I refer to it, because if you're pushing weight towards the face, you're closing off the face. If you're pulling weight off of the face, you're opening up the face. And then if you're just keeping everything balanced within, we just call it balanced. And if you want to learn more about that, I have an online course on freesaloneducation.com. There's also a 7-day masterclass. I break it all down in that, face shapes and everything. So you can take that. Don't be afraid, you're not creating split ends or anything like that. I'm using a very sharp, fresh blade in here, which this takes a standard feather blade. We also have our own Evo Razor blades, so if you want to get those, but if you already have feather blades or have a place where you like to get them, you can use those in them as well. Cut a graduation. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. It's got a really nice airy kind of feel to it, and that is really, again, the benefit of cutting with the razor. Now we're just gonna move into the sides. Side down. And we're just gonna connect it in. So I'll take slightly diagonal forward parting, that, and then I can see my line. So now I can just come in here. We'll do the same thing on the left side. All right, now we're gonna blow it dry, and then we will do some more cutting to finish it off, because you gotta finalize it with a little bit of dry cuttings. It's called the Zuvi Halo, right here, all the different modes. You turn it on like that. Then you can select through the different modes. Definitely has this like kind of intake on the back. Looks like we can unscrew that, clean out the filter. It's built really nice. And then you can see this mirror kind of light on the front. Does come with a few different attachments. This one's hilarious to me because this is the concentrator. It's huge. But it locks on with a magnet on the front, but it makes the blow dryer. When you want to dry the hair, you should not have the concentrator, which as a professional, dry the hair using the light and everything, then use the concentrator to style. There's also a diffuser. I like the diffuser, looks cool. And then the air only comes out of this little hole, but it comes out pretty fast. But if you want to diffuse the air coming out of that, and you just want to use more of the light, you can put this attachment on, and then that still gives, there's still air coming out of it, but it spreads it out a little bit different. So when you put the diffuser on and you're in fast mode, probably any of the modes, but definitely I was just in fast mode and soft mode, which had a lot of heat without the diffuser. But once you put the diffuser on and you're in fast mode, you actually don't have a lot of heat at all, which goes to show that the light is doing the most work. And the heat of the blow, like the airflow, is doing a lot less. When I put it into style mode, then I feel the heat start coming out through this concentrator attachment. So that's kind of crazy. So if you're going to put this attachment on, you need to have it in style mode. Like as hairdressers, when we're blow drying, usually if I have this airflow coming down towards my legs and my area here, like I just feel like I'm getting hotter. And this feels like air conditioning air is hitting my feet. So like there's not a lot of heat being pushed out of this thing at all. It also, I might have hit the button, it could have been on care. So that's annoying because it's moving the spots without me knowing it. So probably because I keep my hand up in this area when I'm blow drying. So I want to show you guys a couple things I like to do to finish off. So I'm in my thoughts a little bit with it because I love everything about it except for the fact that to really like control the hair too much. But at the same time, I'm like struggling because the hair looks shiny. It does have a shape. I'm gonna go in and just soften the edge. And this you can do even if you did like a scissor bob. See a little bit of a weight line. So what I'll do is I'll just grab that and I'll just kind of just go over the top and just lightly soften into it, and it literally disappears the weight. I like to do that just on the top edge of my graduation. You can do that on men's like shorter hair, pixie cuts, any hair that you want to just kind of soften, have it lay just a little bit nicer. You just do a little surface. I don't like these beveled under, just dates the haircut a little bit, so I'm gonna go through and just smooth that out. And the light I can see benefiting, you know, blow drying and getting it dry faster. I just feel like in the style and finish is where it maybe lacks a little bit, but as I use it more, I feel like I'll have a better opinion on that because I do really like most things about it. Opening up the face with it a little bit more creates a little bit more of a modern. Very simple. Fun texture. It's a great, valid point. Hope you guys are watching it and enjoying it. I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.